Hello, my friends. Here we go. Episode 17, live from the M Factor Studios in downtown Jackson, Michigan. This is the A to G show brought to you by the M Factor channel. I am Adam Amble. Thanks for joining us live on Facebook on yet another gorgeous Wednesday evening here in J-Town. We got Spitfire coming right up, so make sure to voice your opinions during the conversation. And, of course, call the three a little later. Joining me tonight is a fresh face as G is heading to Nashville for the weekend. Garrett's Padre, my good friend Jeff Collier. Collier, thanks for being here, man. You ready to agree to disagree all night or what, buddy?
I'm ready. I'm ready to do my favorite thing, talk about sports and argue with Amble.
Awesome,
so
awesome. Well, good to have you here, buddy. It should be a fun time. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Collier over here is an avid Sparty fan, but one of our most dedicated viewers and good friends, so it should be a good time. I'm glad you could sit in tonight, man. So let's get started with a quick Michigan headline, and that is, let's see, Michigan baseball actually advanced to the College World Series, or the College World Series Super Regionals, not the actual College World Series, but they destroyed Creighton Monday night after a terrible meltdown. Really, the day before. They advanced for the 9th time, and first since 2007. They will take on the number 1 seed UCLA for a best-of-3 series Friday night at 9 p.m. Should be pretty cool. Make sure to cheer the fellas on Friday night. Collier, you got anything to say about good old Michigan baseball or what, buddy?
No, I mean, watched their game the other night. I really liked that leadoff hitter they got. That he really knows how to play the game, and enjoyed watching him, to be honest. I mean,
oh, really?
Yeah,
well, I didn't expect that.
The bullpen came in and did what they needed to do.
Unlike the night before.
The night before was a little bit scary, but yeah.
Oh goodness, yeah, it was a shock, but good for them. You know, I'm pretty happy that they're able to do. You know, we don't watch a lot of baseball and stuff like that. I think we've talked on many episodes. I know you've chimed in on how much better it is to watch. How much better it is to watch softball than it is really baseball, especially.
Right.
You know, it's a lot quicker and stuff like that. The pace of play and stuff, and really, so good for them. Don't forget 9:00 Friday night. But let's dive right into some Spitfire, shall we, folks? So the first one, I'll start off. Collier, again, folks, welcome to A to G. Garrett's dad actually sitting in tonight, Mr. Jeff Collier. Glad to have him here, but. Spitfire, we really like your guys' opinion, so as we go through this and stuff like that, let's get some comments and stuff up there. Thanks again for tuning in. Make sure you share this episode so more and more people can join in on the fun and whatnot. So let's get started right off the bat. Mr. Collier, do you feel this is something that, you know, not a lot of teams, you know, in professional sports get to do this a lot because of the parity and stuff like that. But do you feel it's okay to run up the score when when you get the chance and stuff like that? Is that okay in professional sports, in college, even at the younger levels? Do you think it's really a good thing for the kids and stuff like that? I mean, maybe your opinion is for young kids, no, maybe for old kids, but what do you got? What's your take on that?
Right. To be honest, I've never been a fan of running up the score. I think it's something that I learned from my dad. You be humble, but then again, when you come to this college and how much it means nowadays, you know, especially in the football scene, where that score is relevant now. When
you're
it comes
absolutely
to
right.
that committee, you know that committee's sitting there while they rolled this team. So I think at a certain level, it becomes okay, to be honest, especially if it's a rival.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't think I didn't like it in 2000. You know, when that game got out of hand with Michigan State.
Oh, boy.
I think it all depends to me on the level of play and what the game really means at that point.
Yeah,
so.
I would agree, because you're absolutely right. When it comes to actually, especially the voters and stuff like that, I know they say it doesn't really matter, but you know in the back of their minds, when the committee is in that room and stuff like that, you know that margin of victory is in their heads.
Especially when it's a good opponent that you roll.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, when it's a bad opponent that you barely beat, right? Not so much running up the score, right? But a lot of times you get rankings and stuff. The rankings, of course, mean a decent amount in the beginning part of the season, right? But as the season goes on and you got those first 3, you know, light games, if you want to call them that, those first 3 non-conference games, especially in NCAA football, you better blow those teams out.
Yeah.
You know, it definitely hurts you at the end of the season, especially because you kind of don't move in the rankings after that.
And not only that, the end of the season means more. So if you didn't blow somebody out early, that game's forgotten in the committee's eyes too. So.
And it's really it's a good point. The fact that in the pros, I'm not sure if it really matters, and not very often do you get the chance to actually blow someone out, right? I mean, because there is a lot of parity, there is a lot of it's very rare to say that, oh, well, the Patriots, we'll say, for example, the Patriots blew this team out or blew this team out.
Right.
Really doesn't matter, right? Because it's wins and losses in the pros and stuff like that. To be honest with you, I kind of disagree with running up the score, because if you're up by that much, get your starters out of there.
100%
Injury.
agree, especially in the NFL.
Yeah, it's a game of attrition, right, in the NFL, and even in the NBA. Look at the NBA Finals right now. Look at Golden State. They're just ridden with injuries and stuff like that. So, I would say it depends on what level you are. What do you think about the youngins? What do you think about when you're, little league and stuff like that?
Yeah, I don't like it at that point. I mean, at that time, it's, get the kids that don't get to play so much in the game.
Yep.
It's still new to them. You want, eventually that kid could be 10 years down the road a good ball player. Get him in, let him play, let the parents see him play.
Yeah.
I've been there. I've coached, I coached Garrett when he was in minors all the way up through. So definitely not in favor of it at that point.
Yeah, well, let us know what you guys think on running up the score. Actually, regardless of level, let us know what you think about it. Let us know if it in the pros, whatever you got. That's I would agree. Pros, it's tough. Set your players. Little league and stuff like that, minors, or when young kids, teenagers, high school and stuff like that. Maybe not so much high school, but they got mercy rules and stuff. So, all right, Collier, what do you got? What do you got for me? What's the next
NFL
one?
part of that kind of leads into my first topic. Is there is talk about the NFL going to 18 games?
Okay,
would you be in favor of extending the NFL schedule, or do you think 16 games and the way the playoff is right now is where it needs to stay?
Boy, Collier, I think it's almost perfect right now with 16 games. I don't like the preseason. I wish they'd shorten the preseason.
Is there
pointless.
A need for 4? Isn't it 4 games in the
preseason? Yes, 4 games.
Right.
See, exactly. Case in point, you really had to second guess yourself, right? And be like, is there really 4?
Yeah, you watch the
3?
third one because the third one's when
that's your fine-tuned one.
Right.
Fourth one is the players you're going to get cut and stuff like that, so they have a last-ditch effort, right, basically, to try to make the squad. 18 games, I understand it from the owner's standpoint. 2 more games, possibly 2 more home games that you can pack the seats and stuff like that. But, boy, like we just mentioned, it's a game of attrition.
It is
2 more games. There's no way those players like that. There's no way.
If you think you're in the playoffs, the last 2 games, are you going to even play your top players? And the people are paying to go to the games and seeing.
Collier, we see it now, right? We see those starters sit in the last game if they're guaranteed, especially home field. Sometimes not even home field advantage, right? If they can't get it and they're just they already know they're in the playoffs, then basically they're just, all right, sit them. Now, I don't disagree with sitting players. I know we had that discussion last week about sitting out games and stuff like that. What do you think about? What's your take on actually the 18 game season?
I like it like it is. 16 games. It works. It fits the schedule. Are they going to have to extend it into February more?
That's a good point too. How do they start the season earlier, or do they extend it? Because right now, I mean, remember the Super Bowl used to be the last weekend of January. Now it's already into February, right? And some of the first weekend in February.
I'm ready for college basketball.
That's right. That's right. Because we're basically getting in the heart of the Big Ten schedule right then and stuff. So probably be a Michigan State game somewhere around that time,
exactly.
like there was this past year. We won't talk about that though. But I just think it's a good point to bring up. Do you extend the season? Do you do you extend? Does it extend into February, or does it start in August? Right? Does it start the last weekend of August?
Preseason games and start it earlier.
That'd be the only way I'd be for it. Really,
but
to be honest with you,
a lot of heat. I mean,
just get those preseason games out of there. They're so pointless, and it's another way for owners to reduce the ticket prices. Come on in. You get to see some of the starters, the first couple series and stuff like that. You get to take your kids to the stadium and stuff like that for cheap. Take the whole family. So that to me is kind of cool for preseason games, but then just have 2. There's no reason to have 4. So, okay, thanks for that. Again, thanks for joining us, guys. Let us know your thoughts. on any one of these topics that we are bringing up, because that's really what it's all about. So go ahead and type in. Don't be afraid. We got some good viewers going on right now. So let's move on to the next one. Here kind of goes with the running up of the score down in the little leagues and stuff like that. And this has been a topic for debate just recently over the last few years of these participation trophies and stuff like that. What do you think about young athletes, every young athlete getting a trophy?
Man, you stole one of my points. That was my first time, and you already took one of my points.
That's all right. We're doing good, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I had the same point down. What about participation trophies? At what point is it good? At what point is it bad? It gets into high school now. They want no cuts. I mean, you go out for the team, you can't get cut.
I did not hear that.
But here was my point to you, Adam. How many marathons have you run where you didn't get a medal when you crossed that finish line?
0.
Right. You run a half marathon, you get a medal when you cross the finish. What's the difference?
Well, to be honest, you almost run a 5K, you still get something, right?
Right.
A lot of them.
Right. So I'm torn because I'm definitely not for participation trophies. I mean, it teaches kids. I was taught the hard way how to lose and the humble way how to win. The not so humble way how to win by some people you play. But then again, when I cross the line in Boston, I want that medal going around my neck.
Oh,
that's
God,
a participation trophy, right? I didn't win that dang marathon.
Well, okay, that's a good point though, Collier. So you say you didn't win that medal, but don't you think like qualification and stuff like that, and the actual effort for a marathon, like you mentioned, we've ran a few together, the actual preparation and stuff like that. To me, that's not the same as a kid going out there and never showing up to practice and never, not to say he shouldn't be playing in the game if he's not at practice. Right. I'm sorry, I'm kind of hardcore like that. Show up to practice, all right? Show up to practice, show the team you're willing to work and stuff like that. But if you don't show up to practice, you never play in the games and stuff like that, and you get these medals, you get a little medal, you get a little participation trophy at the end of the season. Now, I don't know what it was for you as a kid, but when I was a kid, we used to get, like, I guess you would call it almost like running the Boston Marathon. You'd play the entire baseball season, and then if you won the league, you get a medal or you get a trophy.
Right.
Now, if you were voted to the All-Star team, you get an All-Star trophy.
Right.
Which was kind of, that's, if we're talking harsh, that's kind of a slap in the face to the kids that weren't voted on to the All-Star team. But at the same time, that kind of reminds me of working your butt off and running a good race, qualifying race for the Boston Marathon and getting into the Boston Marathon. So that's kind of like the all-star. In my mind, the Boston Marathon is kind of like the all-star race of marathons. You know what I mean? It's
sure.
The big daddy and stuff. So, what are your thoughts on that?
That's valid points, but just through coaching and watching Garrett grow up, some of the kids that are the least athletic were the ones that were the first ones there. The ones that tried the hardest, that would do everything you asked without
and it probably just killed you
anything.
It probably just killed you to.
But they just didn't have, at that point in their life, the ability to be a top player or to score a goal or to hit a home run or whatever the case may be. So, again, I'm not in favor of participation trophies.
Yep, draw a line in the sand, Collier.
If I got to draw a line in the sand, I'm like, no, it's not a good thing.
Well, fair enough, and I agree with you. I agree with you, Collier. I guess we're probably a little more old school when it comes to that, but at the same time, I have not. You've probably seen some of the kids that you're like, oh, just work their butts off and just aren't.
Absolutely.
They just don't have it yet, and that's not to say they won't. But they work their butts off, and you do kind of feel for those kids, right? But it's, as a general rule, I'm going to say I'm anti-participation trophy. Right. The kids are there to play, and it shouldn't all be about the trophy. You know what I'm saying? That as a kid, it's the greatest thing ever, right?
Oh,
getting a trophy
for
and
sure.
stuff like that.
Especially for the ones that aren't. That aren't going to score goals.
You feel for them, but now it's expected. I guess that's my point. Now it's expected.
Right.
I don't care much for that. I don't care for the fact that it's expected, and you would get ridiculed, possibly fired as a coach or a commissioner of a league or something like that, commissioner of like a little league city or something like that.
Coaches in a tough situation too. I mean, especially at the high school level, if there's a no cut rule all of a sudden because it's going to hurt somebody's feelings. And then the kid sits and doesn't get to play, and then you got the parents. Why is my child not playing.
How about this? How big are the teams going to get?
All right.
Yeah, I mean, we went to small schools, Collier. So imagine, I mean, pretty much everyone made the teams.
We still had cuts, though, in my school. I mean,
we
still had
barely
3 or
did.
4. Right?
There was only a couple, maybe basketball we had cuts.
Right.
Football, we needed every body that we had in the school. And baseball kind of weeded everyone out by the time they reached high school and stuff like that, to where you're like, all right, baseball's pretty serious, and baseball and softball are pretty serious in Coleman. So by the time you make it to the big field,
right.
We'll say they're like, all right, well, I'm never going to play, and this got serious. You got a lot of time and devotion to it. So, all right, what do you got? What do you got next for me? Sorry to steal one of your topics there, buddy.
Yeah, it's all right. But so recently, Tigers' old coach Hank Haney made a pretty bad remark on a podcast he was on regarding. They asked him about the U.S. Women's Open, who you think's going to win, and he made a racist remark that he shouldn't have made.
Oh,
and it was bad for the women because he's like, well, who cares? I'm guessing it'll be somebody with the last name of yada yada, a Korean. And but the real story is they asked Tiger Woods his thoughts about it because he actually got suspended from his radio programs and stuff.
Oh, okay. So he
they
got booted off
Tiger,
social media and
so
stuff?
they asked Tiger, and Tiger made the comment, he got what he deserved.
Oh.
So
really?
Mr. Hank Haney comes back and says, well, who is Tiger Woods to be commenting on something of a sexist or a racist
Who is
type?
Tiger Woods?
Yeah, because of his issues that he's had, 10 years ago. So my question is, if you're Tiger Woods, how would you have answered the question, or would you have avoided it knowing that your past is a little bit shaky when it comes to that type of thing?
Like social, like some social subjects and stuff like that.
Right. Because they're both getting roasted right now in the social media.
Boy,
on the golf
that's a really
pages.
good question, and I think I might have to explain this a little bit, but I think before that Masters win was so incredible and stuff
huge.
like that.
It
almost wiped away anything that he's done in the past. And to be honest with you, in my opinion, I'm not a huge golf fan. You know this, Collier. I'm not a huge golf fan. I'm not necessarily a huge Tiger Woods fan, but I loved that. That was great. That was amazing. Like I mentioned on the show, actually, it brought all of America together, brought the whole world together. It seemed like, because a lot of people overseas and stuff were watching that as well.
The ratings were through the roof.
Yeah, so I think that kind of like when that happened, I think it kind of turned Tiger Woods into more of our hero again. You know what I mean? We kind of forgot the last, 10 years, 10, 12 years. We kind of forgot a lot of the stuff that he actually, like some of the nasty things that he actually did in his life, or you know what I mean, and during those times. So for him, I think he answered it exactly how he had to, especially nowadays. You cannot say that stuff. You just can't say it. We try to get non-political on here because we don't want to get heated and stuff like that. Because Facebook will kick us off. They will.
Yeah.
We're small fries, and they'll still kick us off if we say something inappropriate that is not socially accepted. You know what I mean? Especially nowadays, we can't say it. So of course you got to come back.
And I think that's what Tiger's point was. That was not a socially accepted comment.
Exactly.
It shouldn't have been made.
First of all, the coach is in the wrong. You can't say that. You shouldn't say that. That is not a good thing to say. Second, Tiger should not defend him. You can't defend him. Otherwise, Tiger goes right back into the doghouse, right? I mean, what do you think about it, Collier?
Yeah, I mean, Garrett and I talked about this just a minute, and I guess my comment would have been, I'd rather not comment right now. I haven't had a chance to talk to Hank and see what his real thoughts were, why he made these comments.
Okay, a little more like ready for that question, basically.
Yeah, I kind of probably would have avoided it.
I'm not sure if he has a press secretary though, so
I'm sure
he might.
He's got every type of secretary, right?
Yeah.
I mean, with what he makes.
Yeah, you'd think he would hire one. Right? He's normally pretty good on the mic, though. So, maybe that question couldn't have caught him off guard, though.
Right.
I mean, was that big news? I didn't hear about it, but
it was big news. Yeah.
Was that on like SportsCenter or anything like that? Again, sorry, I don't follow golf that much.
I followed it more on Twitter than anything.
Okay, right on. So yeah, I just, when it comes to that, we talk about it a lot of times on the show where we start to get into a little political discussion and stuff like that. But this is simply, that was wrong. You just can't say that was blatantly racist and
Right,
stuff like that.
right.
A lot of times there's a gray area. That was basically, that's maybe not what he meant. That's maybe not what he
Right.
meant. But I don't know the guy.
It was
so
more just the way Hank came back after Tiger responded. It was just silly.
Okay.
Why
Okay.
would
And then he's
Tiger
like, who's Tiger Woods think he is and stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
he's
yeah, I was
pretty
gonna say we
relevant.
didn't even talk
Pretty
about that,
relevant.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
What? I think there's one guy in the world that that coach cannot say that to, and he did. He happened to say it to that guy, right?
Yep.
That's funny. Well, that's not funny, but yeah, but that's inexcusable. And then the way the coach responded to Tiger, what he said, obviously is that's just ridiculous. That's not anything terrible or anything. So again, let us know what you guys think. What do you think about, is Tiger going to fire? Is he gone?
He's his old coach.
Okay.
So
it doesn't matter anyway.
No.
Whatever. Yeah. Let me know what you guys think about how Tiger handled it and stuff like that. And again, anytime you guys want to chime in with any of your opinions and stuff like that, just let us know. We're going pretty smooth right now, so let's move on to the next one. This is more of an opinion. Obviously, they're all opinions, but this one's gonna be kind of tough. So give me the best coach in all of sports right now. So this could you can give me like your top, in your opinion, your top 5. This is kind of more of a call to 3 question, but this is obviously a major topic for discussion with a lot of people, because do you go football? Do you go basketball? Like, first you kind of got to narrow it down. What is the toughest the toughest sport to coach?
Right.
Which is, honestly, Collier, it's tough for me to even name it. And I thought of the question, right? So
Right.
While I'm sitting here rambling off, what you got any in mind that just stick out? And it's got to be current. They got to be current coaches.
Well, to me, the NBA has got to be the hardest to coach, because I think the athletes are the hardest to coach.
I would agree with that.
They're going to do their own thing.
It's a very important, or it's a very good point. And they're mobile, right? You never know if you're going to be coaching them the year after that. They're
Right. But
they're all over the place.
To say, right now, is it Steve Kerr? I don't know. Right now, the first name that pops off my head would be Bill Belichick. I mean, without a doubt, the system he has in place. Tom Brady, a Michigan guy, obviously not my favorite quarterback, but when you put those two together, that system works.
Yep.
I don't care who the little flanker guy is. He's running the same pattern.
That's the people they get, right? That's the people they get.
But it wins.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows what's going to happen.
And they still win.
How
And they
fast
still
is
win.
Gronkowski? I could outrun Gronkowski, but he's always open, because the system they run leaves him open. He makes the catch. So
No, I bet Gronk might run over you though if he
would run over me without a doubt. But the first name that came to my mind was Bill Belichick.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's one of mine too, and simply because it's just greatness. Exactly. And let's not forget. I mean, he got fired from the Browns.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not like he's been great his whole career. He got to New England. He wisened up. He obviously one of the best ran franchises in sports history, right?
Without a doubt.
And then you get these players that just seem to fit everything. And another thing that he doesn't get a lot of credit for, this also goes to the management as well, but they get rid of players will have great years, and they get rid of them right at the perfect time. What's his face that went to the Raiders? Their offensive lineman that went to the Raiders is going to be paid higher than most of 3 linemen combined for like half the league.
Right.
He just knows when to get rid of these players and stuff like that. Who's the guy that went to the Amendola or whatever that just went to the Lions just signed? Went down to Miami. Of course, didn't fit that system, right? There's certain types of players that fit his system, and I always said it's a good mesh, and Tom Brady is absolutely perfect for that system, simply because he's accurate, right? And he's great footwork, and he's just a student.
He doesn't
of the game.
make any bad decisions.
Right. He's a student of the game. He's a student of the game.
When's the last time he made a bad throw?
He always throws that one key interception in the first half of the Super Bowl.
Right.
But guess what? He's only been to 8 now, so it's you can probably let that fly a little bit. Zach French, thanks for joining in, buddy. Steve Kerr, 5 straight. We mentioned Steve Kerr, 5 straight finals appearances. Hasn't been done in a very long time. 5 straight. They have a chance to win their third three-peat right now.
Coming up.
There's no reason KD probably leaves this year, but they'll be just as good. I mean, they're winning right now without him. So let's face it, KD leaves, they could be right in the driver's seat again next year to win it 4-peat. has that ever been done? I know the Bulls had that gap when Michael went to play.
A couple of threes, right?
Yeah,
in a row.
yeah. So my mom, hi mom, nice. Thanks to your dad. She says Tom is perfect. That's all she says. Exclamation point. Yes,
Tom
mother.
Izzo?
Yes,
Is that
mother.
Tom-
We know. Oh,
Is that Tom Izzo?
Oh, you better correct him, mom. I'll tell you what. Yeah, she's a big fan of Tom Brady. If you didn't know, Collier.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Right.
Not many females aren't fans of Tom Brady, right?
Right.
So I'm a big Tom Brady fan, but yeah, in my opinion though, Collier, yeah, Bill Belichick sticks out. Greg Popovich sticks out for the Spurs. James Miller's online. It's good to see you, James. What's in the glass, Jeff?
That's water, James.
It's straight
That is
water, so
straight
he
water
says.
out
Yep, yeah, that's
Or
right.
something very similar.
That's
in color,
right. Chrissy, thanks for watching. She says Tom Izzo.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna go Coach K if I'm gonna go in
if you're
college.
gonna go college basketball,
It's tough because you gotta. I always have to go with recruiting and the games, right? Because it's kind of hand in hand. My mom says no. They go hand in hand, you know. In the pros, you gotta, like you were mentioning, pro basketball, it is the hardest because I feel those athletes are, especially they're young too.
right?
A lot of 19-year-old or 20-year-olds, you know, coming into the league and they get paid millions of dollars right off the bat. You're right. Those egos are right there. You know, you kind of need a veteran leader like LeBron or someone to try to take them under their wing and stuff like that. But I think Greg Popovich just exhibits that he is the man in the room. Basically, he's a big guy. He's kind of low key, but then when he yells at you, you know, it's you listen. You listen when Greg Popovich is in the room. Oh, Willie Bill Harrington, thanks for joining in, Willie. Rick Hendrick is a
Rick Hendrick.
I mean, that's more of an
Talk about
owner,
a coach.
Bill, but
I would think the crew chief would be more. Of
yeah,
coach,
we could
right?
go
Like a
with Chad Knaus. Yeah, again,
Right.
part of a good system with him and Jimmy.
Right.
That's a good pull though. I like hearing a little NASCAR action
Sure.
because that's I mean, okay, we're gonna go with titles.
Yeah.
7 straight, you know. Let's face it, you know, you got Chad Knaus with 7 straight. You got baseball. But I don't know of any real great coaches right now. Baseball, I think the manager. I got yelled
right.
at that before for
Uh-oh.
calling them coaches.
Right.
But yeah, managers. I just don't think they have a lot of control on the actual game itself. They make some good decisions.
You got the hit and runs maybe in a situation, or
What do you think? Pitching changes and stuff.
speaking of that,
course.
Michigan's team the other day, that coach had a double steal on a squeeze bunt. Did you see that?
Oh, for Michigan?
Yeah. Talk about a coach that made a good call right
Yep.
there. I mean,
Well,
But-
you're a great coach if it works. You're right. That's one of those. But gutsy
oh, yeah.
coach.
Dude,
Gutsy coach.
guy from second base was past the shortstop when the bunt was laid
Woo!
down and scored. Yeah. See, I watch Michigan handball.
I know you do. I never claimed that you never watch Michigan because you got to fire back at me sometimes. But actually, Collier and I have really civil Michigan State conversations, surprisingly, because we are both diehard opposite fans and stuff like that. And Collier has to live with a diehard Michigan fan as well. So G, I'm sure, is up his butt all the time about Michigan and whatnot. So I can only imagine the conversations that go on at the Collier residence. So it's got to be pretty cool,
fun.
actually. Yeah,
it
exactly. They're a good time. I always enjoy chatting with you and stuff like that. So obviously that's why we're doing this tonight as well. So again, good to have Jeff Collier here tonight sitting in for G. I'm Adam Embo. Welcome to the A to G show. Again, thanks for the comments and stuff like that. Some really good coach picks there. I do like the Rick Hendrick. That kind of brought up some NASCAR and stuff like that. Obviously dislike the Tom Izzo. That's not going to fly with me. But again, if I was going to go college basketball, I'd have to go Coach K simply
I would
because of
almost have
both.
to go Brad Stevens. I mean,
Oh,
to do what
he's in the pros now, right?
He is now, but if I had to go college in the last 10 or
Sure,
12 years
sure.
to do what
I
he
can
did
see, I can
with
see,
his
I can see
recruiting,
that.
I mean,
Simply because he never had the absolute great talent.
You're going to
and-
get 3 stars at
Yeah.
the best, right?
Yeah. I could go Beeline as well for, you know, besides this year. This year was kind of a letdown, and now that he's not the Michigan coach anymore. So
well.
hopefully Jawan can keep it going. And you definitely want the rivals to still be competitive. So
been fun
because
the
it's
last
great
few
for
years.
college basketball. This last year was so fun, you know, watching all the Michigan State games, even though we didn't come out on top on any of them. But even last year, they were fun to watch. So just you really want your rivals in that sport to really to be good games, because I think it hurts I think it hurts the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry, the fact that they've been so dominant the last 10 years. But we can actually discuss that if you want a little later, Collier. But you're up, buddy. What do you got for me?
Here's the thing with Major League Baseball. I'm not a huge fan of instant replay, but I got to be honest. I would love to see an electronic strike zone.
Okay.
What's your thoughts on an electronic strike zone versus a human being behind the plate at the major league level trying to call balls and strikes?
I'm gonna go. This is a tough one, and it's a good question because I'm still kind of old school where I like the human aspect of it in the game, and to me, it's amazing. I discussed this with G before, I think, on the show. It's amazing how accurate, when you got a split-second decision, umpires actually are. Now, let me rephrase that. How consistent they are. It's very, very. I don't see a lot of games. And you're a diehard Tiger fan, I know, Collier. You watch. I know in years past you used to watch every game, pretty much. I don't know. Are you still watch them as much as you can?
Or? Not as much as I can. I watch them. I mean, it's the biggest conversation that I have with my dad on social media. I mean, he'll message me, all the time. So it's what my father and I talk about the most. So I do watch a lot of Tigers when I can. And I've just seen so many bad calls over the last couple years that have changed situations. And
are we talking just balls and strikes?
Balls and strikes only. Balls and strikes only. And my point is they put in instant replay for all this other stuff that you have a more time to think about, more time to see. But the balls and strikes, I watched a pitch the other day where the catcher actually stood up to get the ball, and the umpire was completely blocked out at that point. His head was directly behind the catcher.
Okay.
And it was a strike. It was not called a strike, but that's just one instance. There's just so much going on behind the plate right now, I think.
I'd be curious. And here's the thing, that's a missed call right there, right, Collier? That's a missed call.
He had no chance at that point,
right? Because he couldn't see it, right? He just couldn't see it. Now, here's my thing. That's why I mentioned if an ump is calling the ball, calling it outside, he normally calls it outside the whole game. That to me, and like I said, I've listened to a lot of managers and stuff like that. As a pitcher and catcher and manager, it is your job to know who is behind the plate that night. Because most of the time, those umpires are very, very consistent. And I wish I had the percentage for you. I don't right now. I didn't know that was going to be a question.
What would be the reason not going for it? I mean, we didn't have the technology until recently. Now we have the technology, so why not use the technology?
In my opinion, again, baseball. It's all about tradition and stuff like that. And my thing is, it just makes it too robotic. It makes it too robotic. Boom. Oh, it's a strike. It's a strike. It's a strike. Oh yeah, that's a ball. That's a ball. You're not waiting. You ever have that instance where you're how the ump kind of waits a couple seconds before he rings up a guy or something like that? To me, a lot of times that's exciting, and it's also frustrating too when it's
I just think if I was a major league hitter, I would love it because I would.
As a hitter, sure.
I would know. It was just my fault if I don't swing and it's a
So
strike.
Let me ask you this, Collier. You think it would? You think the score would go up? You think more hits
I think
would occur?
The score would go up a little bit. I think.
I mean, you have a huge sample size when it comes to this, right? So,
sure.
I mean, you got 162 games. How many pitchers are thrown in each game? You got 31 teams, 30 teams, or whatever. I mean, come on, that's the sample size for that would be huge. So even if it goes up a 0.1 runs per game or something like that. Right. That's obviously the sample size is so big that it still booted it a little bit, right? It still increased it.
I just think the technology's there. Why not use it? I mean, you still need him for, hit by pitch, calls behind the plate, half swings. He's still relevant. He's still making calls, but take that little bit out and maybe he's better at the rest of the stuff.
And like I said, I'm kind of on the fence about that because a part of me really wants to say, no, I still love the umpire back there making his call. It's the human. We always hear the human aspect of the game, right, and stuff like that. Well, I'm like, yeah, the players are the human aspect of the game, right. but when it comes to the umpires and stuff like that, it adds a little more to it. And like I said, I like the anticipation of whether that ump is going to ring someone up, especially in a big game, or if you're on defense or if you're pitching and stuff like that, and you're just waiting, you're like strike or ball. Oh, you just can't wait. But like I said, if it was if it was automated and stuff, a little too robotic for me and stuff like that. But you're right, it would definitely. I think it would increase the hits because now that batter knows exactly that strike zone. You know those hitters are something special. In the MLB.
They're still going to swing at their share of bad pitches.
Yes,
right?
yes.
But,
well, because they want them, right? They still can't hold back.
Right.
Well, thanks for joining us, my Aunt Kay. Hi, Aunt Kay. Thanks for the compliment. By the way, these aren't real glasses. They're just blue blockers. We got lights shining all on our face. Colliers are a little real, but didn't want them to feel left out tonight.
Need to see my notes.
Yep, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, Chrissy says, why do they? Then who do they fight with? I like it when they fight with the umpire behind the plate. That actually is kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean,
it's fun. It's fun.
The coach has been thrown out a couple times this year on balls and strikes, and
again, huge sample size, right? So a couple times is actually pretty good. James Miller says all robotic baseball is the answer. Go Amazon Angels, Walmart Warriors. So just robots, be home runs, just 1,000-foot home runs and stuff like that. That would be pretty fun, actually. Yeah. See, join that league. Right. Well, you saw that robot that they had like jumping on the boxes and stuff like that. Did you see that, Collier? Woo! I'll tell you what, we're in the business of robots, folks. So, all right. Well, great question though. Collier, we got about time for two more probably. Let's see this. Here's another NFL question for you, Collier. Do you feel that the NFL might fold or football is in danger due to this concussion and head trauma and stuff like that? Do you feel that football could possibly be in danger, especially at the youth level, start turning into, God help us, soccer or something like that? I know, Collier. I know you're a huge fan.
I wanted to bring up the FIFA ladies coming up starting this Friday.
Okay, we can. Yep, we can.
I know how you're into that, but yeah, I had a similar comment on mine. Again, what would you do to make football safer? I don't think the NFL will fold. I think there are so many players that love the game of football. Mm-hmm. They know what they're getting into. They know how dangerous it is. It's so fast. They're so big. They're so strong. But we'd love to watch it. I mean, what do you do on Saturday afternoons? What do you do on Sunday afternoons in the fall and the winter?
Even Monday and Thursday nights now.
Right.
No, you're absolutely right. I don't hope that it goes away.
Stands are crowded, every game. There are players that are retiring early. Yep. There are kids that aren't going into football. There are parents that aren't letting their kids go into football.
Would you like, if you had another child, would you if you had it all to do over again,
Garrett got a concussion playing soccer.
Yeah. So I mean, I know it's not as frequent.
It's not as frequent, but it's out there. There's injuries,
It's athletics, folks.
Now it's talking head injuries versus blowing out a knee in a different sport. That's a huge difference. But what would you do to make it safer, I guess?
Well, actually, Zach French brings up a good point here. He says, not a chance someone will make millions off the solution. It's a very good point. Someone will. But my suggestion says take some of the padding away. Quit making the helmets better. They're just using them as weapons. And that's kind of like, go back to rugby. Rugby, you do not see a lot of concussions, actually. Right. And those guys wear zero pads. And it's pretty violent. But they don't lead with their heads. They don't try to take people's heads off in the middle and stuff like that. You don't get slammed to the ground. They're solid hits. You know what I mean? They're just solid hits. Those guys, I mean, they're they're just monsters of men. You know what I mean?
Did the evolution of the game hurt us?
I think so.
When it comes to football, look at the games back in the 40s and 50s and the equipment they were wearing.
Well, not only the evolution, but I also think the athlete has gotten so much better, right?
Oh, without
I mean,
doubt.
Imagine Ray Lewis. What is he? 270 pounds, ran like a 4.5 40, 4.6 40. That's just too fast, too big, too strong, and that's just a freak of nature. It's unbelievable, the athletes they have right now and the evolution of the equipment, I really think is attributed to this.
But it's the money in the sport that's making it,
Oh, yeah.
If I can be that big, that strong, that fast, and make this much money a year.
I agree. So how about this, Collier? What if the level of talent goes down a little bit because you don't have as big a pool to choose from? Right, because I still think that parents aren't letting their kids play football. Right, I think that has definitely that has an effect. But the kids that are really good, they're still going to go.
They're still going to go.
The kids that are really good, especially in high school. When you get to high school, You're telling me that you wouldn't let your kid, if your kid's a 5-star recruit,
Right.
even I don't care if he's a 5-star recruit. What if he's you get a full ride to a D2 real good school? You know?
How cool would it be to watch your kid play on Sundays?
Oh, geez. Oh, geez. Well, I mean, I guess I'd rather have him have his brains and stuff like that. But
Right.
no, case in point, if I ever have children, I would love to see him play.
Would I let
football.
him be a wide receiver? I would try and talk him out of it.
There we go. See? Yeah.
You know?
Well, you don't want to be a quarterback either, do you, Mom? I'll tell you. Oh, I used to get destroyed. But so yeah, what was your question about the FIFA World Cup then?
Well,
or is that more of a?
That was just a question for Garrett in case he was listening on his way.
Oh,
on
okay,
his travels
okay.
south. Yeah, we don't really want to talk about that, do we?
Real quick, we got like 2-3 minutes, but yeah, I will. I do tune in if they make like the elimination.
Well, the good thing
round.
is the women are in the World Cup,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
As opposed to the
Yeah, and what are they going for? A 3-peat or whatever for the World
Right.
Cup? So, I've watched the women's final since what was it, 99? I think
didn't we
when
watch
Mia
it?
Hamm.
They were playing Japan when we were at TAC together.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I've tuned in. I'm not going to say I've never watched a whole soccer match before. Boy, it's difficult. But I'll tell you what, actually, I remember I had a baseball game, that 99 match with Brandy Chastain and my mom's.
I like your mom's comment.
Mom, are you talking about
I
soccer?
agree with your mom, Amble.
Are you talking about soccer, Mom, or me being quarterback back in high school? You're going to have to clarify on that. So, yeah, I'll tune in if they make I probably won't tune into, like, pool play and stuff like that. I'll just see how they're doing, especially USA. I guess France is supposed to be really good, and it's in France, so it'd be awesome to see, like, a France-USA final. France is really young, cocky, and the United States is obviously a veteran team that has 2 straight World Cup championships. So we'll see. What do you think? You think you'll tune into any, Collier?
If they make it to the semis or finals, certainly I'm sure my son will have it on. So
Yeah, you got to tune in then, watch it with them and stuff.
Sit and watch.
I'm sure we'll talk about it on A to G and stuff like that as well if they do make it as far as they're projected to. They're projected to win it, obviously, but. Yeah, all right. Well, thanks for joining us again, folks. Thanks for the comments. We really appreciate you here. We are going to move on to Call the Three, one of our favorite segments. And let's start. I'll start off right now. G, Collier.
It's A to J.
Yeah, A to JC tonight. Yeah, that's right. So recently, this kind of goes with Did we do the moving the 3-point line back?
That was my next point for the other section, but yeah,
Okay, so they finally decided to move it back
they did.
in college, of course. What do you think? You agree with it, or are you for or against this?
I am against it.
Why?
I think it's going to do more than one thing. It's going to. What was the middle tier team that made it? You know what it's going to do is it's going to take away some of the underdogs making it, I think, to the Sweet 16, because those smaller schools that don't get the 4 or 5-star athletes are more geared around that 3-point line.
It's a good point.
It's
a very good point. So you're saying it takes away a little parity or a
I
little
think it's going to take some parity away from
chance for the underdog
chance for the underdog.
Okay.
I hate the charge. I absolutely hate the charge.
Is that your least favorite call? Is that what you're saying?
They put the small semicircle zone in, but if I was to make a rule, there would be no charge inside the paint, period. I just don't like the charge call. And what it's going to do is it's going to bring more driving to the basket. So the teams that get the 4 or 5 stars, the guys that can dribble, you're not going to have to shoot anymore. It's just going to open it up, I think, a little too much. It's going to become the NBA, and I have not watched an NBA game, and I couldn't tell you. So I'm
You're not tuning in tonight?
I'm completely against it. I mean, they moved it back a foot in 2008, I think, 2008, 2009. They moved it from 19.9 to 29. It didn't bother me. I thought the 19.9 was a little too close. You can still shoot well from the 21-foot range, but now it's going to be 22-foot and change.
I'm with you.
To me,
I'm
it's
with
going to
you.
be too much NBA and not what I like to watch. I like to watch schemes and
I think that's what they're going for too, Collier, is obviously trying to gear these kids up for the NBA and stuff like that, get them more prepared. Because it's not like this. It's not like the games were that astronomically high in scoring.
no,
You know what I mean? It's not. It's still not easy to hit a 3-pointer. I don't care if you're in high school. You know, and I 100% agree. I do not like this rule change, simply for the reasons that you just stated, Collier, and even more of the fact that it's just unnecessary. It's just unnecessary to make this rule change. It's so blatantly obvious they're just trying to get these kids ready for the NBA and stuff like that. Because, like I said, you move it back because you think scoring got too high. You know what I mean? Why did they you know, they've always tried to get scoring higher.
I mean, they're just saying it's too congested in there, but I just
and
don't think
that was
it
the other
is.
point is you're just going to take away from swinging the ball and stuff like that. It'll become more one-on-one, drive to the bucket.
It'll be so much
Yep,
driving
and
to
then
the bucket.
you get your
And
favorite call
somebody
to
that's
charge.
covering somebody down low is just going to pop out. And
Yep. And I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's not going to be
I
a
didn't
lot of
watch
these
any
guys
of
are
the
taking.
NIT. They used it in the NIT this year.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see enough of the games to see if it affected anything. And those teams are, you know, they're not the top 64 teams anyway. Is that really a true test of what it's going to do to the
Yeah,
game?
we'll have to see. I mean, we'll have to see exactly the statistics on it. We'll give it a year. Maybe, who knows? Maybe we won't even notice. But I agree 100% with everything you said. I don't like the charge call. It's too judgmental, and they always seem to mess it up. It's like a pass interference call, right? It could go either way, and half the time they want to review it or something like that. And just ridiculous. Is his foot inside that little mini arc in there and stuff? Oh no! Then it's blatantly obvious, right? Christy says it'll turn into a flopping game. Sure, why not? It's gonna, because more people will be driving, just like you said, right? So, yeah, I just I disagree with it totally. So, you know, the big here's a big question for you. We'll move on again. Thanks for joining us, folks, on the A to G here with Jeff Collier, G's dad. Great to have him here. He's a good friend, and we talk sports a lot as well. So please comment. We really appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you share the episode and stuff like that. Really appreciate it. Next big question. Gina, I've done a similar question, but obviously to Michigan fans. I would like to know, and actually we've talked about this, but never on the air, Collier. So I want to know your most liked Wolverine of all time, and then obviously your most hated of all time. I know we've discussed this before, so this is one that I'm not going to answer because I've already discussed this with Garrett. But yeah, I know you have them. I know it pains you to say your most liked, probably because you don't want to back up, but we have said our favorite Sparties before. So
right. I mean, I love Glenn Rice. I really did like Glenn Rice. Shooter, clean game. You know, never had a bad word for anybody. So he's not recent, but fairly recent. I would say Glenn Rice.
Oh, fair enough.
I love the team back in the late 70s. I used to go to the games when I was a kid. Ricky Green and all the kids, people that you've probably never even heard of, but. You know, from your standpoint, as far as basketball goes, I would say Glenn Rice would probably be.
You got a football player you ever liked, or
Harlan Huckabee?
Oh, okay. So, well, this is kind of cool too, because you know now we have a different. You know, we got we got different generations. So obviously Garrett is younger. You know, kind of the younger generation. I'm right in the middle of you two, obviously, and then you know, because you get to bring up stuff that I've never seen.
Right.
You know,
and I like Drew Henson. I mean,
yeah, that a boy, Collier. That a boy.
Kid was a standout in the state of Michigan. Every sport he played.
Yeah.
Academic.
And that was my case too. It's like he was a smart kid.
Right.
Didn't make the right career move, obviously, but he still made his millions. So
right.
Still made his millions. I wish it would have worked out in baseball for him. I wished him the best. Actually, I hated the fact that he rolled early, but left us with the dreaded John Navarre.
Right.
The dreaded. I brought it up, so don't worry, guys. So yeah, okay. So in your
hated's easy. I mean, Jim Harbaugh, player and coach.
Okay.
I mean, that's easy. As far as basketball, probably Jalen Rose.
Okay.
Not a Jalen Rose fan at all. Still not to the day.
Even on the sports
I
shows
watch
and
him
stuff
on
like
shows,
He's got a good podcast himself. I don't know.
But, yeah, pretty easy call.
Okay,
pretty
fair
easy
enough.
call on both those.
Fair enough. So, okay, let's reverse that real quick. Who's your most hated Sparty?
My most hated Sparty. Wow.
Actually, that may be tough. Maybe strong words. Most hated.
Way back.
It doesn't matter in your lifetime. I mean,
you can't be a fan of Tony Mandrich. Tony Mandrich set steroids up. I mean, everybody knew he was doing it. He flopped in the NFL his first shot.
Oh, did he?
He was just yeah.
When was that?
He actually had 2 shots in the NFL. He was second pick overall. Went to Green Bay, held out forever. Green Bay hated him when he got there because he wouldn't go, and he finally did, and he failed miserably just because of steroids. And then he was on painkillers.
Okay.
And finally got off, went back to the NFL and did really good, but got hurt. And
it makes sense.
They wanted to put him on painkillers, and he said, "No, I'm not doing it." So he retired. Now he's a great guy. He's a photographer, got a professional business.
As a Sparty player,
as a Sparty player.
Fair enough. We got one more for you, Collier. Hey Sherwood, thanks for joining. No, this is just water in here, buddy. It's not coffee. He's like, it's 10 p.m. Why are you drinking coffee right now?
Water.
Yeah, water for Collier as well. My last one, kind of more personal to us. Guy got me really into Collier. This guy that got me into running years back. Great motivator, great coach when it came to the sport. We ran countless 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, a few full marathons together, a couple. Collier, I probably know the answer to this, but what was your most memorable race? And you can elaborate on, and maybe you have a few, but
I have 2. My first one was our first flying pig together, that first half marathon.
Yeah, that's easily mine.
In Cincinnati.
Yep.
But it got trumped.
Fair enough.
It got trumped by the 2013 Boston Marathon.
Yeah. First one, right?
It was my first Boston. I qualified at Houston when we went out to Houston. I qualified in my second marathon. Got to run Boston 2013, and I ran it good for me. It was a PR at the time.
I remember we were following Collier every mile and stuff like that.
First time I really got to know Amy, who's another great friend from running, and her good friend Chris. We hung out. We had a fantastic weekend. Unfortunately, the tragic events happened.
Yep. For those of you that don't remember, the 2000.
My first was the year of 2013 when the bombing happened.
Yep.
So the after party got canceled, and
still just like I said,
which made it even more memorable.
Exactly.
Probably.
Exactly.
You wanted to go back. You wanted to be there the next year to. Next year was just crazy.
Oh,
the crowds were 5 deep for 26
just
miles.
To stick it. Yeah, exactly. The 1 year anniversary and stuff like
the
that.
Party was amazing.
Oh, I can't imagine. I can't imagine.
Yeah,
so I was pretty sure I knew the answer to that one. But yeah, the flying pig, our first flying pig, that really got me into running. Everything else, great time. All right, Collier, what do you got? What do you got for me over there, buddy? We got about 7 minutes left. So,
all right. So if you had the chance to make any sport that isn't an Olympic sport, what sport would you?
Oh, great question. I was actually going to ask you, like, what would you not want to see in the Olympics?
I was going to, yeah.
It's tough because most of the sports that I watch are Olympic sports, because I want football to be in there, but you can't put football in there because no one else freaking plays it, right?
Football, right?
Well, who's it going to be? America or United States and Canada? That's about it. That's about it that plays football. What about you?
Yeah, mine would have been golf, but it got back into Olympics.
Did it? Okay.
So I'm hoping Tiger makes.
I mean, they tried.
20, that would be. They had it. It went away, and it came back, and so.
They tried baseball, right? And then it went back. And then they lost it again. So.
Right. That was back
because they got the World Classic now or whatever.
Always the U.S. college kids against, the rest of the world's best,
bunch of crap. Well, most of our great players are from other countries right now too. So, which is great. They make it. I mean, baseball's not very exciting, but I wish I would let them use aluminum bats.
But you know how much they love baseball in Japan. And
oh goodness,
countries. It would be huge to get that in the Olympics. But
yeah, what do you got next, buddy?
All right, the second one. We got Father's Day coming up, and I know. if you could ever play a round of golf with somebody, it would be your dad again. But if any sport person from the past, if you could just hang out, play 18 holes, and drink a beer with, who would it be?
Gosh.
And then present.
Okay, so they
Past
are
and present.
so someone that does they have to be like a sports guy that is not playing anymore, or just like deceased or something, like a legendary?
A legendary.
Oh,
deceased.
Boy, it'd be great to do it. And this is kind of this might be an odd answer, but I think it'd be cool to do like Jackie Robinson or something like that, just to see like some of the struggles and stuff that he had, and just
what he was going through.
Yeah, it'd be unbelievable. And on the and like currently would be probably Gronk. I think that'd be a blast. I think that'd be a blast. Now, does he count considering he's retired or what?
Yeah, he's still living. I don't know. You think he's really retired? You think he's
I
retired?
do. I think he's ready to go. He invested well and stuff like that. He hadn't spent a dime of his actual football salary. But how about you, buddy?
Steve Prefontaine.
Nice.
I think he would be fun.
That was one of my.
Would just be fun to. Because there was a lot going on. I mean, the '72 Munich Olympics, there was a lot that happened there. But not only that, the U.S. runners did not get paid at that point, and we were going up against all kinds of crazy odds. So
and just the heart that he had and stuff like that.
I think it's probably you're going to be kind of amazed, but it would be Jimmy Johnson, I think.
Well, as in the NASCAR driver or the coach?
Yeah,
no,
NASCAR driver for sure.
Why is that? That is an odd one.
I think he was in the footsteps of Gordon for a long time. We know what was that like, and then he became the champion. But now, dude, he's huge into triathlons. He ran Boston.
That is true. Yeah,
ran the Boston Marathon last year,
and he ran it pretty well, didn't he?
He did. I would just like to understand what his training was, and with all of his NASCAR duties and then trying to train.
Being a serious NASCAR driver.
He went under 309. He was seriously close to my PR at Boston.
Well, good for him, though. I really enjoy that, too, that he does all that stuff. And, it would be. That's a good call. I like that one simply because he was in Gordon's footsteps. And then even though he was a 7-time straight champ. Right. He still just did not get the recognition that anyone does. He does not have a fan
base that you would think.
No. I think he's just too low key.
Is that why? I mean,
I think so. Yeah, he's just too low key. You gotta have the personality to be like that. You know what I mean? Sure. Jordan has it. LeBron has it. That's why Steph Curry isn't touted as amongst the league and stuff like that as he should be. You got Brady. Brady is low key, but Brady is kind of a funny guy. Brady is all business. And obviously Brady's just great because you see him every year in the Super Bowl. Right. So, all right, what's your last one, buddy? We got time.
I know you've played both sports and they're not your favorites, but kind of going along with the hardest thing or best thing. But would you rather bowl a 300 or get a hole in one?
Probably a hole in one, I would say, just because I think like 300. God. It's hard to know because I just don't know the stats on it. Like, okay, here locally in Jackson, have you ever had a hole in one?
No.
Have you bowled a 300?
Yes.
Okay, that's kind of what I was getting at. Right.
I
mean, I think you just have more of an opportunity to roll a 300.
Is a lot easier.
Yeah. What about a 900?
There's very few. In fact, the first sanctioned 900 was bowled by a Jackson bowler, which a lot of people don't know that.
There's some history, folks.
The first sanctioned 900 bowled was by a young guy. Well, he's probably your age or a little older now, but yeah, he's from Jackson, Michigan.
No kidding. Yeah. So how many has there been? What, single-digit 900s?
I think so.
Okay, right. Okay, so that's way off. So, probably a hole in one, and I think it would be cool because you're with your buddies and stuff like that, and you're actually playing against your buddies.
Well, I always said if I threw a 300, I wouldn't bowl in any leagues anymore, and I haven't. So. But I wouldn't stop golfing if I got a hole in one.
Okay. Now, do you play the rule? My uncle Keith's a big golfer. He's had a few hole in ones. In fact, he might be on the record book for the latest hole in one in Michigan. It was late December, and he had a hole in one here in Michigan. But I don't know if that's legit or not. But he did, and they play to where the person that gets the hole in one,
buy rounds.
Yeah, has to buy the rounds and stuff like that.
You
so
buy a round just to borrow.
Opposite it up and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, so would you rather have?
I would rather have a hole in one.
Oh, of course, you've already bowled a 300, so why even ask you?
Even before that.
All right, well, great questions, buddy. Again, thanks for joining us tonight, guys. Some other quick news we got. Excuse me. Some of the quick news we just got: the NBA championship fires back up tonight. Golden State they're playing right now. It started at 9:00. Back in Golden State, the series is tied 1-1. So if I'm sure Garrett's really into that right now. That's probably what he's watching instead of his own show. Come on, Garrett. If you see this, we have words. But Collier, I got to ask you, what do you got going on this weekend? Since it's a tradition to ask a Collier on what's going on.
I'm not playing music anywhere this weekend.
You're not jamming on the guitar. Oh, no, sorry about that, folks. I just don't know where we're gonna go this weekend. So
definitely gonna get some golf in this weekend. It's supposed to be decent and just hang out.
Right on. Yeah, it's supposed to be a nice weekend and stuff like that. So
got a lot going on next week. So
enjoy. I'll be out of town visiting the fam this weekend. So I'm looking forward to that. For Jeff Collier, Adam Amble on the A to G shows. Thanks again for tuning in, folks. Another good, solid following tonight. Again, share this. Tell your friends. Tell your family and stuff like that. We really want to get as many people as we can to try to watch this and get the conversations really rolling. We really love your guys' comments and stuff like that. Really appreciate it, taking the time out of your night to watch us and stuff like that. So for Jeff Collier, Adam Amble, thanks again. We'll see you guys next week live right here on Facebook at 9 p.m. Have a great weekend, guys.